Probably go
minutes.
longer.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
no problem. All right. Well, we'll do this for the fans to get it
Oh,
going. And since we're
so
ready,
Steve, I wanted to talk to you another time. We can book a time. I just want to talk to you about tax stuff. I need
no
someone
problem.
to help
We're
me.
live right now. We're live. We'll talk about tax
Oh,
stuff, later. Yeah, we're
right.
live. So for
Oh,
the
I didn't realize
fans.
we were live. Okay, good. Okay, fine.
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Well, here we go. It's the man that promises you nothing and delivers. It's the veritable man motor mouth. It's Roald Woods who feels the need to call himself Rob Vega. It somehow makes him feel important. Anyway, do have a listen and try not to throw up.
Every time I hear that music, I still feel like a beatnik. I don't know why.
A beatnik. What's a beatnik?
A beatnik is like back in the day. It was like a jazz guy, really cool, with the glasses
Oh, yeah.
and the hat. It's just like a beatnik.
Rings
That's
a,
what that music
it rings a
reminds
bell.
me of.
No, it
Well,
doesn't.
I'm from the era of the year 2. So that's why.
Cheers.
Cheers. As we say on the cigar show, Geo, which means to life, to health, and we want your women. So there you go.
G-O, like go.
Geo. In Pakistani
Geo.
means cheers.
I thought it was like G up, giddy up, G up.
Yeah, it's Geo.
Oh, okay.
Look at me bringing culture to your show.
So, wow, you've had quite a week, haven't you? Wow.
Oh,
I have to say,
yes.
look, wow. I know there's a lot of crap going on in the world, but I have to say, as someone who spends every day of his life trying to find material for his show, this is an absolute godsend. It is fantastic. May it never stop. It's brilliant.
Well,
it's awesome. I know it's bad for a lot of people. I can't
Right.
speak to that. I don't have dogs, cats, kittens, leopards in that fight, but wow.
yeah.
Well,
It's been a heck
that
of a week.
I've got these little things that come up in my feed, and some of them are parody things. Sometimes you
Right.
get some inspiration. There's
Yeah.
some genuine things. Can't tell the difference between the two right now. I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
We
I
have.
picked up that thing about the real estate development in the Middle East, and I went,
Yeah.
"What?
That's
This
real.
is-
I actually watched the press conference
Wow!
they had. Yeah, that was good. Here's the best.
Oh,
We got a
God.
video a couple weeks ago that we put on. It was on the Cigar Club. We put it on where Donald Trump says it's okay to call people faggots and retards. So we played that on the cigar show. Now we said after we played it, we don't know if it's real or not, but then we had a discussion on, sticks and stones will break your bones and names will never hurt you, which was interesting. But yeah, we don't know anymore. So it's funny, but I actually watched Netanyahu and Trump. And Netanyahu was gleaming like a little 14-year-old girl that met her idol when Trump said, yeah, America's just going to come in and develop the Gaza Strip. He's basically going to make it the Monte Carlo of the Middle East. So, you have bigger targets to bomb. So that's something to look forward to. And while we were doing Brown Car Guy, Sermon from the German yesterday live, all the reaction from the Middle East was coming through. It wasn't nice. He was sort of like, what is this guy on drugs? I was like, Donnie, you can't be this stupid.
Yeah,
Well,
but hang
you
on,
can be.
hang on. My thing is, okay, all right. What is it? Again, I didn't have a vote, so it's not my fight. But
Sure.
What is it? What about this? What is it about any of this that surprises anybody?
Nothing.
Why? My thing is, okay, if you're outside of America, sure, okay. But if you're inside America, I mean, this guy's been telegraphing or faxing or whatever the hell it is, broadcasting, YouTubing what he's about for, 50 years.
Yeah.
This is not a surprise. Why would anybody go, oh, this is what a shock? It's not a shock. And it's already been mentioned.
The public,
It's already been
the public didn't care. The public could give a shit. It was.
They don't. They don't care.
It was Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Jordan, Egypt.
Yeah, but
where he said in the conference, you can just take these people, kind of like, listen, go to the store and pick up a dozen eggs. So I think what's happening is these people that they liked him 4 years ago when he was president the last time are realizing we don't like you so much this time because now you're putting a globe in jeopardy. And UAE sees that because the UAE and the Saudi are trying to become the next Shangri-La, and they're like, yeah, this isn't going to work. So it's going to be interesting to see this roller coaster. Then I read an article. There's a senator that says Trump should be able to go a third term, which I thought was really cool. Because listen, when you're going to have a Nazi dictator in, you got to have him more than 4 years. And the best article from yesterday that I saw, and to me, kudos to this gentleman. I want this guy to be president of the United States. He says the president of Colombia, not the university, but the country, says that cocaine is no worse than alcohol. And if you want to rid the cocaine problem, you should package it like wine. Kudos to you, Mr. President of Colombia. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Love you. I don't do it. I just thought that was great. It's like if Donnie can get away with all the crap that he's doing, as far as he's concerned, cocaine should be like wine. I thought that was awesome.
So here's what I think. I mean, just a take.
You hit the mute button. We can't hear you. We hit the
How's that?
There you are. Now you're back.
That's weird. There's somebody trying to shut me up.
Probably.
Elon.
Stop it.
Hey, do you mind? Bad parenting. This is bad parenting. I mean, it has become. I look at the world right now and I go,
yeah.
Just look at your family. Your family.
Killed them.
I'm not talking about the dysfunctional ones where people beat each other. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
But normal family, the way leaders, the way media, the way everybody's behaving, you would never tolerate that in your own home. You would never do that. You would never put up with that. But somehow this is okay. I mean, the Gaza thing isn't surprising for me, but it's just I make stuff up as a parody newscast on my show. I couldn't even dream of making. How do you make shit up? You can't. How do you make that up? I mean, it's. I heard some idiot say, "Oh, it's a negotiating position. He's not actually going to do it." And I went, "Yeah, the negotiating position is when you come in and you say you want to buy the thing for $500. So you say, I'll give you 400. You skirt around where you want to be. What the hell is? What? I don't see the plus side. Never mind. Look, as I say, I'm not going to comment on it. I steer clear of it because I don't live there. I'm not familiar with the history. I'm not going to comment on it like a lot of people do who claim to be experts. They don't know. We don't know. We don't live there. We're not from there. And the best thing we can do is just either you're going to get involved and help or you're going to shut up. But it's not helpful. Even a stupid opinion doesn't do jack shit for the situation. But I will say, I'm curious to know where 2 million Palestinian people are supposed to go. I'm just curious. I'm just asking. I don't know where. Let's just forget the real estates of it. Where do 2 million? What is that? What happens to them? Oh, we'll just move them.
That's the apartment building I lived in Manhattan. We had 2 million people in the building.
But it's just the most flippant narcissistic thing. How do you wake up in the morning and say, all right, that could be a good real estate development. All right, let's just go with that for a minute. Okay. And we're going to clear the place out. Even if you're anti or pro, what happens to, I just want to know, because they said it's a negotiating position. This is what the guy said. He's not really going to do that. Okay. What would the less position be? So in other words, you're trying to get from A to Z or A to L. So you push for P, and then you come back to G. I want to know. So if his initial offer was to do all that, what would the less position be? Half Gaza?
Wait. Let me tell you what's in Telegraph.
Golf course?
I read there was a whole article yesterday. The big read in the Financial Times. So Jared Kushner, president's son-in-law, the Jewish puppet, he was at Harvard and he said that Gaza.
I remember that.
He went to Harvard and he said, they should clear out the Palestinians. It would be good. Yada yada yada. So he said that last year. So or 2 years ago. So he's telegraphing what he's doing. Trump said that what they should do with the 2 million people is they should,
Tell me.
like Jordan, Egypt, Saudi, and UAE should take them, and then they'll develop it. And then one of the comedians I heard last night said, "All right, we'll make it like the American Indians. Then we'll just say, you know what? Then you can own casinos here, and then 2 million people can run the place and have casinos." So the problem with it is that you have to remember this is a guy that would have people build stuff for him in the city and then not pay his bills and get them on the verge of bankruptcy and then pay them like 10 cents on the dollar. So he's negotiating the way a New York contractor negotiates. Unfortunately, he's negotiating it with the planet. And I unfortunately think, I know Putin is his buddy, and I know Zhao used to be, and this one used to be, and there's Missile Boy. But at the end of the day, I think the globe is going to be like, you know what, we've had enough. Especially when you threaten to invade Greenland and you want to take over the Panama Canal, tell Canada they should be the 51st state. It's kind of like, I used to joke, Reagan's second term was like the crazy grandpa had his fingers on the button, because he had a little dementia there. It's like crazy grandpa now is in the White House. And listen, some of the stuff he's doing, okay. But some of it, no, dude, you got to you're becoming I hate this word. I'm going to say bully, but it's a totalitarian. And that's bad because that leads then into dictatorship. And then you want to conquer the world and you want everything to be the United States. And we've gone through that several times. And the last one was 100 years ago. So that's where this is heading, in my opinion. I could be totally wrong, but I think that's where we're heading.
Well, I mean, there's so many things we could comment on, but the one thing that I do want to mention, because he went and had a go at this place where I live now in South Africa,
yes,
and we have this thing which, what bothers me about this is I don't mind strong leadership. I don't mind a leader taking a position. I do mind a leader taking a position without knowing what the fuck he's talking about. And that bothers me. Now, I don't know anything about Palestine, Israel, Gaza. I don't. I'm not familiar with it. I hear stuff in what I would consider or via non-credible sources. So I'm not going. It's difficult for me to take a position. I'm not. I don't know enough, so I'm not going to do that. I am concerned about what happens to 2 million people, and whether to just say Egypt. What if Egypt says no, and they're perfectly entitled to say no? We can't take them.
They all said no.
What I'm saying is that you've got to offer people a choice. But now, getting back to this thing that he brought up,
the rainbow.
For some reason, he felt the need. Maybe Elon was chatting in his ear. I'm not sure. And he brought up this expropriation act, which they have now passed here in South Africa. And just to be clear, as I say, I'm not going to pretend I'm a person of color who was subjected to apartheid. That's not what I'm saying. But I do know people who were. And I do know I have talked with people who've gone through that. And I lived partially through some of those laws, and I saw how inhumane that was. There it is. It happened. There it was. It was a very troubling time in the country's history. But the group of people that I grew up with, 80s children, everybody said, when we get older, when we're in power or whatever, this shit is going. And it hoovered out and pushed out, honestly, by the majority of sane people, late 80s, I would say. And then the legislation just caught up. And obviously in 1994, we had the first elections, blah, blah, blah. Madiba came in, Mandela, as you know him. And there we go. And everything started to. But that wasn't the end of it. And as I've said to you, Stephen, many times, as I've said, I wish the world had stuck around. There were a lot of people who pushed for change in South Africa, and I agreed with that. I said, that's fine. But then you need to stick around because you've made yourself part of the fight. You didn't have to, but you have. Thank you. But then you need to stay in the kitchen and wait for the food to finish the job. And everybody left. And there were a lot of people, as I said, we've had this conversation. Anyway, so the point is everyone then took off. They took off. So they can't really come back 30 years later and comment on things they don't know about. And the king of bullshit, as I say, I don't know Trump personally. I don't care whether he's not my president. He can say whatever the hell he wants, and he wouldn't care even if I said that, and power to him, and he was voted in. Fine. But he doesn't know what he's talking about here as far as the Expropriation Act goes. This is a big-ass country. There hasn't been random land grabs. It hasn't happened. In fact, that's what they're trying to avoid with legislation. There's a lot of land that's just sitting that they want to use for public use, highways, schools, whatever. This isn't somebody going, I want to farm like happened in Zimbabwe, and we're going to take some white guy's farm. It's not that at all. And if he bothered to pick up a book or talk to people and find out, hang on, what was actually going on, then I would, and then still had a position to take, I feel he would have said something different, and he would have taken a more cautious, more educated, more informed position. I can't imagine what a lot of people have gone through. I'm not even going to comment on what they've experienced. But there is a land issue here. There are land issues around the world. And all this was designed to do. And by the way, it has bipartisan support. The party that I support is the DA. There's the ANC, which is the ruling party. They're in I suppose, a coalition. They call it the Government of National Unity. And they are on different sides, relatively speaking, of the political spectrum. You could almost say it's like a Democrat-Republican coalition, sort of, that's running the country. It's not quite accurate, but you've got two differing opinions running the country. So they come at this from different places. And you will find that they will both agree that this is something that needed to be pushed forward because it needs to be dealt with. It's not like tomorrow they're going to start grabbing people's farms. That's not happening. Farm murders are another story. We're not talking about that. We're talking about just the government haphazardly grabbing land. That is not happening. Now, you've got a president like Trump who's got this massive platform who feels the need to comment on something, do extraordinary damage to the reputation of a country he knows jack shit about. And that's what pisses me off. That's what pisses me off. That he couldn't be bothered. If it bothers him so much, get on a plane, fly here, come here, spend some time here, talk to the people, and then you're welcome to talk whatever. Because I can tell you now, if Cyril Ramaphosa, our president, hopped on the world media stage and started spouting opinions about Native Americans and why are you just giving them land, or talking the biggest lot of twat about American history. Oh, Trumpy boy would be would be on him on whatever that stupid social media, like a dog on shit. It would be crazy. Now, have some bloody mutual respect for somebody else's point of view. If you're going to comment on something like it, and now we've got Marco Rubio who says, I'm not going to come to the G20 because South Africa's doing bad things. You've never fucking been here, you idiot. You know nothing about the country. I'm not saying it's perfect. We've had lots of discussions about what's wrong with this place, and I agree. But it's like transformation, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, is like a big lake. This is where you are. This is where you want to get to. And I would say South Africa's halfway through the lake. It's getting there. There's a lot of shit still going on. There's a lot of corruption. There's a lot, but we know about it now. It's coming out of the woodwork. It's a very open, the information is there. We have this thing called the protection of information. It's all out there. You can't hide shit like you used to be able to. That you will find very surprising. Every day you hear of another government minister or government department where they have found corruption. Now that is bad, but it's also good because we know about it. This is what happens when you change a country. You stick people in power who don't have experience. They're gonna fuck it up for a while. That's what they will do. But you're finding a maturation of the process. No, it's not perfect. No, it got a long way to go. And some stupid shit is being said by our politicians all the time. That's universal. But that's our problem. It's not Trump's problem. It's not Marco Rubio's problem. And they wouldn't appreciate it if the reverse was true. All this fucking foreign aid we apparently get, well, that's also bullshit. And let me just say on that subject, my daughter is a biomedical scientist who actually trained in the UK because, British fellow, free education, sort of. Anyway, so she's here now doing some amazing research on all kinds of diseases, et cetera, et cetera. About 40% of what she does is funded by that USAID thing. Now,
USAID, right?
AID. Now, it's not going to affect her directly. She will keep her job, but it is impacting a lot of the projects. And a lot of those projects are done for the US. They're not done for South Africa. They don't benefit us at all. They are done for American companies, American research and development there, because it's cheaper for them to do it here, so they do it here. Now,
Right.
I'm not going to comment on that completely because I don't know all the facts, but that I do know. But many people in a department, and may I say, these are the so-called previously disadvantaged people that
Yeah.
some people are so worried about. They're going to lose their jobs because some twat on the other side of the world doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Now, is USAID perfect? No. But why the fuck do you throw the baby out with the bathwater? It's such common sense. It's even a common phrase. We know you don't do that. For God's sakes, engage with people. Do some dialogue. Do some homework. Don't fucking hop on social media and talk about shit you don't do, or talk cuck to media people as you get on your helicopter and you're going to save the world. Fuck off. Seriously.
That's your boy. That's Elon Musk. That was Elon Musk and Trump.
I don't know where Trump got this cuck from. I'm not sure
Musk.
it's him. Sometimes he says things and I go, I didn't know that Donald knew or cared that much about South Africa. And I go, wait a minute. What's the name of his new son, Elon Trump? Can I play you something? Can I play you something?
Always.
I'll play you something. I'll play you something I did on the show today. All right?
Okay.
Because it actually speaks to what we're talking about. Motherfucker. Here we go. Listen to
Don't
this.
hold back.
Hello, who's this? And how did you get this number?
Oh, easy, elongated. This is Rob Vega from Hot 1027 in your homeland.
First of all, this is not elongated, as you call him. I am his AIPA. I speak for him now. Secondly, you need to stop calling him elongated. He is not amused by your attempt at whatever it is you're trying to do by blocking his name.
Well, whoever you are, look, the name elongated, it's just a bit of fun, mates. And secondly, why can't I speak to elongated himself?
He is too busy. He doesn't have time for little people like you. He is running the world.
Right, so he's running away from his South African roots then.
You are incorrect. He is not running away from anything. He is running to Mars, his real homeland.
Right, well, AIPA of Elon Musk, we just wanted to ask if you or your human master could put in a good word for South Africa with President Trump. We were just hoping Mr. Musk might have a better understanding of the country.
We will not make a lie to a great leader.
Which one?
What did you say?
Nothing. We don't want you to lie or anything like that, AIPA. We just want to invite them, for a braai. That's how we communicate here. We braai.
What's a braai?
Well, now I know you're not Elon or whatever you are. Look, just ask Mr. Musk to pop down here with his new dad for a chat and a dop drink so we can all just relax.
I'm afraid I won't be able to comply with your request.
Why not? A braai is not exactly a complicated thing. He's got a jet. They both have. And we'll supply the meat like we always do for government meetings.
Your request to contact Mr. Elon Musk cannot be processed due to incorrect information.
What are you talking about? AI thing? Look, just get Elon Musk to call us so we can set up a braai.
The entity you call Elon Musk no longer exists.
What?
His name has been changed to reflect his new status. He is now known as Elon Trump.
I love it. That's great.
By the way, if anybody wants to know what a braai is, it's the local word for a barbecue. So there you go.
Yeah. So the problem with the USAID is there's no problem. Bill Gates was on a show a couple days ago here in America that talked about all the good things they do. And even he said, I give money to where they give money because it does all these wonderful things. And he said, not as eloquently as you, that if Musk and Trump got their head out of their asses and actually did some research and found out what they did, they realized, oh, they're doing good things to help America and the world. So the problem is once again, you can't fix stupid. You've got a dictator and you've got a dick sucker or an oligarch.
But Stephen,
Yeah.
stupid is in charge.
I am well aware, my friend. And the American, we had this discussion the other day on Sermon from the German. Why young people don't like democracy. They want to live in a dictatorship. That's what they said in a survey. And here's, I think, what the problem is. The Democrats are pussies. There's no buddy with balls that stands up to people and go, we're going to do this. And they don't take a position. We're going to have 42 different genders. Listen, fuck you and your 42 genders. You're male or female, full stop. Or you're a drag queen. Done. That's it. All this other bullshit, they kind of got what they deserved. When it comes to this, that's why people voted for Trump, because whether you're male or female, people were like, you know what? America seems to be getting kicked around under the Democrats. Let's bring in an authoritarian type of person. So they brought in Trump. And I think that's part of where it is. Once again, people don't read history and they don't even believe history. So that's the problem. Like when you ask university students, they did a survey of university students, and 90% of them, and I think we talked about this last week, don't even believe Auschwitz happened. So it's sort of like, are you kidding me? So the problem is that we live in this world where we don't teach kids anything. So if you don't know anything and you're like, ooh, strong is good. Okay, well, now you got what you wanted. You've got a bully, which I would never call anybody. You've got a strong guy in the White House. He resembles, not look-wise, but mentality-wise, another guy back in the 30s. And his new son, Elon, I have a small penis, that does the little Zing Heil salute. That's who he admires. And he likes all the Nazi parties. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Can I say this? I don't know. Did I use my English Premier League analogy last week?
No, but use it this week.
All right. I thought of the best way to explain this to people who don't know, who are trying to figure out Trump's tariff and immigration stance and his USAID stance and his fear of the world and all of that, and try and keep everything and borders and walls. There's a common theme. There's a common theme to everything he does, I find. It's like we want to build a 10-story wall around the country and cut ourselves off from everybody. Right. Is that about right? Would you say that's about right?
Yeah, sure. It's
okay. So let me tell you, let me just explain something to you. And I think this, for people that like football or soccer, as you call it there, all right, let's call it soccer for whatever. It's the thing with a round ball with the two nets. Football, right. Okay.
Oh.
Would you not agree, Stephen? You don't even have to be an expert. You've heard of the English Premier League.
We used to own a team, I'm sure.
Okay, right. So Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, all those people.
Heard of all
West Ham, Everton. Okay. Well, I'm a Chelsea boy because I was born in London, but that's beside the point. I don't really give a shit, but because, okay, Chelsea, whatever. But here's the thing. So English Premier League. Yeah. Would you agree it's one of the best in the world?
Sure.
Right? It is.
Yeah. Oh, okay? Yeah. They've got all the players.
Big money. Lots of money. Rich. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah? How are we doing? We good?
Yeah. You're good.
Okay. How many of the players are English? 5%?
Not
10%?
Even, not
all
even
right.
5.
Let's give a concession. It's not true. Let's say 10% of the players are English. They're not, but let's say they are. All right? Okay. All right. Imagine now we say, all right, we adopt the same view. We take this. We take the same view on the English Premier League that Trump is trying to take with the entire US. Okay. Right. So what we do is we close up the borders. No more non-English players. So only English players now in the English Premier League. That's it. Your talent pool is literally from the British Isles. That's it. There it is.
A bunch of white guys that can't play. Yeah, I got it.
Well, there's some that can. I'm not saying they all can't play. But
three.
Would you not agree? Well, let me ask you this. Not agree. What do you think would happen to the standard of football, the amount of money going into it, and the amount of people that would watch it? What do you think will happen?
It'll be just like the MLS over here. No one will watch it. No one will care.
Okay. Well, I'm saying, not exactly, but that's why America is. And I don't give a shit if people think it's, we're getting booted around. America is still the number one economy in the world. This shit that America is getting kicked around by people, that's bullshit. That is horse shit. It is it is the only remaining superpower. It's got bases around the world. It's got influence everywhere. Media, armies, fucking products, tech, you name it. It is there. I don't know who everyone thinks is beating America around. It's still there. It is number one. Okay. Now, the reason why it's there is because of all the fucking immigrants that moved to America. With the exception of the Native Americans, the what you call Indians, except the Indians are over there, but that's beside the point.
No, not the Indians, the other Indians.
The people that Columbus thought were Indians. Now, we're not Indians, not actually Indians. India is over there, but that's beside the point. Sure. So you got all these. If you're not one of them or you're related to them, you are an immigrant. Doesn't matter how many generations you came from somewhere else, but that's good. There's some questionable historical things, like in every country. Of course, I'm not going to deal with that. But essentially, it's a celebration of greatness. We've had this as possibility, men on the moon, blah, 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 media, film, you name it, all good, big, highway system, FDR, Marshall Plan, voila, boom.
Right.
Fantastic. World financial capital for a good reason. It's all there. Endless opportunities. Money. Great. World trading currency. There it is. Okay. So I'm saying that but the reason it's there is because it's like a collection. It's like a world. It's like everyone around the world goes there. It's like a little club. It's the collection of the best and the brightest. You will probably say to me, you've said this many times, maybe not now, but so be it. The point is, America came from tremendously great people. It was built up. There it is. If America no longer has the ability to select people from around the world, anywhere, select players from around the world, and it builds the wall and says, we're only going to take people from here. I want to ask you, Stephen, as someone in investment and banking and finances, where do you think that will leave the U.S. economy?
We will plummet like a rock.
But why? Why will it plummet?
Because there'll be no more innovation. That's why Silicon Valley's having a heart attack over the HB1 visas, because you're like, but we need these people, because apparently the American kids are stupid, and we need the Indians and the Chinese, and we need the Japanese, and we need the Koreans, because the American kids aren't smart enough.
I've lived there. You've always lived there. Would you not agree there's nothing stopping any American kid from doing anything?
Correct. Apparently.
I mean, obviously money, college, all that, but I'm saying it's not like a Korean kid comes in there and they go, oh, well, that's it. Well, then you're off because we found some foreigner. You've been replaced. Do you think Americans are being replaced, or they're not? What is it? Because people say, oh, they're taking our jobs. But are these jobs being done?
So, yeah, you know who's taking your job? Automation, robots, and computers. If you look at Detroit, let me finish. If you look at Detroit, when they had 100,000 workers, what did they do? They automated and got rid of 90,000. So the immigrants aren't taking your job because you don't want to do their jobs. I read an article the other day that a construction company said that like 70% of their guys now haven't shown up for work. Like, I guess they're like, ICE is scaring them. So the houses aren't getting built. Fruits aren't going to get picked. People that are coming here, whether they own a grocery store, they're working for a better life. So what's going to happen is nothing's going to happen. Elon will have his robots. That's going to replace you. Robotics, technology. The people coming here, they're just trying to make a world a better place. The fact that you have morons running the world and they just need to add another comma to their bank account, that's who's trying to fuck your life up.
So here's an interesting thing on that subject. I read that the average American salary, I don't know if this is true, but I did read this. It's in my head. $80,000 a year. Is that about right?
I have no idea. I don't know what an average
American
American
makes. True. I don't know if that's true. The reason why it was brought up in a local media thing was they determined that Africans, including this countries, Kenya, whatever, there's 6 African countries. The immigrants that are going there, legally, I might add, my brother-in-law is one of them. He's in Rhode Island, and he went through a hell of a time to get in there, but he jumped through all the hoops, applied for all the jobs. They couldn't find anybody to do what he does, and he's there now. So it was either the job gets done by him or the job goes away. There was nobody. They were very clear they needed to find somebody local in America to be able to do the job. They could not find someone with his level of expertise. Now, my question, is that his fault? Whose fault is that? But the company said, well, we're going to take you on temporarily, and then they took him on permanently, and now he's a U.S. citizen, he lives there, blah, blah, blah. But his earnings, what he earns is more. All these people, these immigrants that come in, have to obviously jump through a tremendous number of hoops. They go through it. There was a comedian I came across the other day, Mo Amer. Does that ring a bell?
Okay. I've heard his name.
He's a Palestinian-American comedian. And he talks about in some of his, I must actually look at his work. He talks about some of the things that he went through to become a citizen. He was a refugee, blah, blah, blah. But great talent, tremendous benefit to America. Maybe not Elon Musk, but that's another story. But sorry about that. But it's not like my brother-in-law took anybody's job away. If he didn't go, then the job would have gone away. And they wouldn't have been able to do that. So, and I can say as someone who has come in from the outside into the system, that is very true. No one's kicking anybody out at all. There is, you could argue that some people, and these are Americans, they're not immigrants, are hiring people cheaply to avoid paying Americans the correct fee. That is a whole nother argument, but that's an internal problem. Outsiders or foreigners could basically say, guys, that's a you problem. That's not our problem. That's not our problem. That's something that's, but the people that want to come in, want to do stuff, want to build, they have come from places, they bring an extra bit of energy. And this is why immigrants have always, throughout history, been a plus for the country. What I hope, and I hope that continues to happen, because as you have just pointed out, if those walls are built and those restrictions are put in place, and that fuck off everybody attitude takes hold, I don't know, you're going to be stuck alone, and that's who wants that? And I love the place. I think the US is a phenomenal country. It's phenomenal.
Poland's doing that to anybody. Yeah, Poland just started to do that last year. Their president said, "Don't send us anybody. Don't send us your doctors, your lawyer. Don't send us anybody." So Poland.
Yeah,
is
Poland,
going back.
America.
I know, but and listen, their Navy has whatchamacallit, screen doors in their submarines. So I get it. So my point is true. I did you hear about the Polish guy that won a gold medal? He had it bronzed. So no, it's true. I read that. It's on the internet. And the other one that I heard is a Polish guy. He had sugar in his urine. He went home and tinkled on his cornflakes. But anyway, this is the kind of country we're dealing with. I'm not worried about Poland. I'm worried about their philosophy, because their philosophy is so far right and makes Hitler look nice. And then you have Germany. So we're getting to that isolation type of philosophy. Hoover, which a lot of people don't know, President Hoover, not the vacuum cleaner that, people used to go, but Hoover back in the 30s had a thing where he got rid of all Mexicans. If you looked Mexican, they stuck you on a train or a bus, regardless if you were born in America or not, and deported you back to Mexico. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. So history is repeating itself. And now I'm just waiting for the internment camps. And I don't know who we're putting in there, but I'm sure we'll put somebody in an internment camp. But that's where we're at.
It's just, sorry, I've got dogs that want to come and go.
That's okay.
Here we go. There you go. All right. What I find extraordinary is it's so unnecessary.
Yeah.
This is absolutely unnecessary. All this fear mongering and but now it could well become a reality, is what I'm saying. If you start dicking around in something you don't know about, look, will the Gaza thing happen? I don't know. I doubt it. I mean, the logistics are insane. I can't see it happening. I'm not going to say it will or won't. I'm just saying, wow, that would be.
But Netanyahu said that if it doesn't happen, that the ceasefire will be over with Hamas. So it's like literally either do this or we're going to go back to fighting. So I thought that was pretty bold. That's a pretty bold statement. It's like you were saying negotiating, you have A or B. So it's either we're going to displace 2 million people, or we're just going to bomb the shit out of your city or your town or country or whatever until if there's nothing left and everyone's dead, and then we'll just come in and do it anyway. That's pretty bad.
I think mankind should be called ITY, ITY, because it seems like the human part has disappeared.
I agree.
I mean, I wouldn't even. I mean, I've had fights with people over my life, like, not fisty, but I've had disagreements and pretty. Sure. But I would never treat them or like people are just very comfortable treating other people. Yeah. Imagine what if he woke up at Mar-a-Lago and realized that his son had a kid who is now living in Gaza, and he's got a dog, and he's got, what do they call it? Skin in the game. Fight. Yeah, big skin in the game. There it is. Yeah. Does that change anything? Probably. Why? These are human beings. As I said, I'm not saying right or wrong, but they're literally human beings that you're quite happy just to jettison out of something you think is going to be. And it's just that flagrant, I don't give a fuck about anybody else that doesn't agree with me. That's, I mean, we've discussed, there's some things about Trump that I agree with. There's some things he says I agree with. I mean, I don't disagree with him entirely. Right. And the problem is that there's a lot of things that he says which I go, yeah, okay, I'm with you on that. But then he'll do something like this, and I go, but I thought you were a father. I know you haven't been the greatest father. No, I know we can talk about whatever, but do you not? Is there no humanity in you? But it's not just him. It's anybody else who pulls the shit. There's
Right.
the whole thing. They're the wars that are going on. I think, do you not, you put your head on a pillow at night and you think, no, I'm going to send my troops there and whatever. They're going to kill people with children and whatever. You are killing. You can say it's some political thing, but you're literally. Is there not a better way? No, that's it. That's my position. That's the end of it. There's some historical reason or argument why I can do this. Boom.
Right.
This default thing where we just pick up a bat and start beating people up. It just, I mean, wow, is there not a better way? I made a comment on my show the other day. I said if we need women to run things, because if women ran the world, there'd be no wars. However, there would be a lot of cold shoulders. And you'd have a press conference and the reporter would say, excuse me, Madam President, what's the story with the other country? And she would go, it's fine. Everything's fine.
That's right. Not talking about
fine.
that.
It's fine.
That's right.
But no,
So
seriously, why do we as guys do this? We just want to fight with everybody, and we prepared for families and people to be killed or send, or we're quite happy to send other people's sons to die.
Right.
We're okay with that.
It
justifies our position. It's supposed to be the last resort, but no, we don't like something, we don't like somebody, we just, away you go. I mean, those Russian kids that are fighting for Putin now in Ukraine. I mean, I've seen some of them. They're younger than my son.
Right.
And I've seen some that they just, now, as I say, I'm not getting involved in X, Y, and Z, who's right, who's wrong, but there's a young man dying. Your son is facing bullets right now.
Right.
Are you happy with that? Or someone else is sending your son, Stephen, to face bullets. For what? Right. And then he dies, and then that's his life gone. He's gone. Yeah. He's finished forever. And your family is fucked. And but for what?
Yeah.
And I mean, back in the, I mean, I'm not a big history buff, but I know some of my history. Some of the battles were fought. You could argue there was a greater cause, and there were, but a lot of it was, well, they didn't have social media.
There you go. That's
they didn't know what the hell was going on. There was communication. But what I'm saying is we connected with pretty much every human being on the planet. What is it that you don't know about someone? What is it? What do you think you're going to achieve by pushing people or ending them? No one is like apartheid now in 2025. I mean, you just couldn't do it. You wouldn't do it. Because you can see how stupid it is, how wrong it is, how fundamentally insane it is. I'm not arguing that it was better 50 years ago or 60 years ago, but there was a lot more ignorance. There's a lot more information cut off. We don't have that problem anymore. We can see how stupid shit is, and then we do it again,
and we still do it. And we still do it. It's like,
why are people fighting? Why do we have? I mean, you're literally okay with sending your friend's kid to war with your neighbor's son, and the two children are going to shoot each other dead.
Right.
Because you feel that this land, fuck, what does it achieve? I don't know. It's just.
Well, here's the good thing. If we invade Greenland, I think there's 4 people in the whole thing. It'd just take like 5 minutes to take it over. So
55,000.
Yeah, please. That's like PS-137 in New York. That's like a bunch of 4th graders. They'll just go over there and kick their balls. They'll be done in a minute. So,
Steve, I just got to say, I'm just so tired of all these politicians so happy to put other people's children in harm's way for some bullshit that's in their head that they are not informed about. And just to be clear, I'm not taking positions on Gaza or Ukraine or Russia. I don't know anything about that. But I do know about this country. And you've got the so-called leader of the free world opening his trap and talking shit before he gets on a helicopter and spewing dangerous shit to people equally as ignorant who think he must know what he's talking about. And therefore, he could justify, not saying it'll happen, you should send your sons and go and fight those people down in Africa because they're doing... It's bullshit. It's a lie. Yeah. But they're okay with that. Fucking hell. It just,
And you know who? You know what? If you're going to do that, you got to be like Genghis Khan or Attila the Hun or one of these guys. You got to be the leader. You get on your little horsey and you go lead the battle. Now I respect you. Then you want to go fight? Go fight. Until then, shut up and
When
sit
I-
down.
Stephen, I'll remind me to tell you about something about Genghis Khan in a second. But when I still did occasionally, when you, for instance, like martial arts, when you train. Now, when you're training, you're doing fitness, you're doing exercises, you're doing katas, you're doing kumite, you're doing all these things, and it looks like, if from the outside, if you look at us doing that, you come to the dojo and you look at us doing it, you think, oh, they're training to beat people up. The opposite is true.
Right.
The opposite is true. If I went out and started a fight somewhere, I would have my sensei at my door beating me to a pulp. That's what would happen. We don't fight with people. It is literally the last thing you do. It is the last resort. When let him think you're an idiot. Just turn whatever cheek. It's fine. But if it comes to the end, then you can obviously do something. But the idea is you train so that you don't have to. Genghis Khan, you've heard of the 5-second rule.
Oh, yeah, the floor.
You know, when someone drops something, 5-second rule. You've heard of that.
Yeah.
Comes from Genghis Khan, apparently. Did you know that?
I didn't know.
Apparently, he used to have these banquets.
Yeah.
And then food would fall on the floor, and he insisted that people ate it anyway. They had to eat it. No food wastage. I don't know if that's true. That's what I read somewhere. Genghis Khan.
I've read a lot about it.
5-second rule. And if you didn't, you had to eat it. You drop the food, you eat it. We don't throw the food away. You eat it. Go.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He and Attila the Hun, I've read some biographies on them. You know, when one comes out that a historian spent like 30 years to write, and fascinating. Like when Genghis Khan would conquer your city, he would, and like they wouldn't kill it. They would say to the men, "You have two choices: die or be on our side." And they wouldn't and if they said we'd rather die, then he said, "Okay, well, you'll die, and we're going to rape your women and kill your children." And it was sort of like, oh, well, then maybe fighting for you is not so bad. So it was very interesting the way he did it. He gave you a choice. So I just thought it's a fascinating book. But I'm saying, if you want to go to war as a leader, then you put your ass on the front line.
Yeah, you do it.
You go out there.
Like Richard the Lion, go.
Yeah, go and do the thing, the Band of Brothers type of thing. Yeah, go do that. And I'm like, all right, then you can go to war, because now you go into war. That's the leaders fight. Not you don't send a bunch of little 18, 19-year-old boy.
You know what I think, Stephen? You know what should happen? You know what I'd like to see happen? At one of these G20 conferences or whatever the fuck they are, or world leaders, what we do is we say, oh, I believe we've had this report. Apparently Poland and the US are not happy with each other. All right, so on Saturday, I don't know who the president of Poland is, or prime minister. Sorry, I apologize. The Polish guy. What we do is we get Dana White from the UFC. Dana, let's make some money out of this thing. Fuck Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. This is the fight you really want to watch. We have Trump taking on whoever, right? Then we take that money and we, I don't know, for a food program. I don't know, whatever. Do it whatever you want. Give it to Social Security. Raise some money. And then whoever wins gets to decide X, Y, and Z. Or we settle it.
You give them a little belt. You give them a little belt. We like trinkets.
You give them a belt. The point is the conflict needs to be between them. It's between them.
I agree. Yeah.
When you've let's be honest, you've toured around the world. You've been to countries. When you go to other countries, it's not like you want to go and beat people up. You want to just, hey, how you doing? Maybe learn a bit of the lingo, connect a bit. Going to another country to maybe experience something new, learn something. So you what I'm saying is ordinary people tend to, let's try each other's food and maybe have a I'll take that for a wife, and you want one of my women? There you go. I don't know. I'm just kidding, but I'm just saying.
Wife shopping?
I don't know. You like it? Oh, good. But the thing is, ordinary people. Like, let me give you an example.
Sure.
Our government. This is where I'm going to slightly agree. There has been what could be termed a somewhat not anti-American, but not aligned with American values stance that South Africa has taken with things like China and Russia. You could argue that. I'm not going to say that's true or not, but you could go, yeah, they seem to have been a bit friendly with China and Russia and whatever. But then you could say, yeah, but they've tried to be devil's advocate. America has a stronger view on how that should be tackled, whatever. So there's a disagreement as to how, like the BRICS nations. I mean, Trump has said, if you guys have a currency, I'm going to give you 100% tariffs. Okay. So you could argue that South Africa has a slightly, the government has a slightly different view of the world that the US government does. I just want to tell you the people are not on the same page. The people don't.
I know that. Yeah.
The people don't align with that. You will find that I've lived in the US, I've lived in the UK, I've lived in South Africa, I've lived in all three countries. And I'm here to tell you right now, and you can back me up, I can tell you right now, the difference between those three countries, a couple of letters, currency, and a few accents. That's it.
That's it.
People have the same idea of what's important. You will find they will all kind of gel, majority-wise, of what's important, who the bad guys are, what's bad for your kids, what's good for your kids, how to be a good parent, what sports are good, maybe different on that one, what foods are nice. You all kind of find them getting onto the same sort of page. Politicians, that's another story. And I just want to I've always said this, I've always used opportunity. Please don't think that people here hold that view, because they don't.
No.
You will find I've expressed my concern about Donald. I don't know him personally. This is not a personal attack. It's just some of the stupid shit that he said about this country he knows nothing about. That's problematic. I wouldn't do the same thing. I wouldn't start commenting on U.S. policy towards Afghanistan. I don't know what it is. I wouldn't do
Neither
that.
does he, by the way. So you're fine. You're neither does
I wouldn't say that.
Good.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't stray there. So that's all I'm saying. But by and large, the people all seem to get on fine, and that's what I wanted to say. We don't hold that view,
right?
So,
well, we got that going for us until the revolution next week. I'm very excited.
Wow, this wasn't as funny as last week, but it was certainly been fun. That's all I can say.
You know what? It's good though, because this was more informative than last week, and we did get an interview with Elon Musk. So
you're looking to me for information.
I'm listening. We got to look where we got to look. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe, but yeah,
it's okay. So it's informative. So let's put it this way: if the people in America would watch this just to get a feel for what's going on in South Africa and how they feel, most of them would be shocked. Most of them are going to see this and think it's AI anyway. So,
probably.
Yeah, they're like, no, that's AI.
I'm glitching.
Yeah, I'm glitching, right? So, and people have come in and out of the show while it's been live, but no one, they can't comment because they don't know. And now it's like, here's a guy telling you, and they're like, oh, this is interesting. Now they have to actually do something called research.
Which is fine. You don't have to know.
Which we're good with.
You actually don't have to know. And I was once, I don't know where this came up. We were talking about what's best way to educate your kids.
Right.
What's the best way? And I've always felt, and I did this with my kids, it's part of the reason why we've lived around the world. I'd like to have lived in more countries, but for me, for my culture, the US, the UK, and South Africa matched my values. And I wanted my kids to experience all three countries. They did. And you will find that they have what I believe, obviously I'm biased, they've got a pretty holistic view. They're not caught up in the political bullshit of each country. They can see what works, what doesn't work. And I think most people in the US, UK, and South Africa, they know that. It's just the fringe elements that kind of make things stupid. So, for instance, I say to people, you can't possibly say all Americans are like the idiot you saw on YouTube waving a stupid flag around saying he loves Donald Trump.
Right.
That's not all Americans. It's
only
some.
6 million of them.
It's some, but you can't draw. It's such a varied country. It's literally 50 countries. So you can't. So I find myself here defending America quite a lot and saying that the conclusions you draw are inaccurate, because I've been to 30 odd states. I've seen a variety of people. I've met people, and I generally found we were on the same sort of page. So the things that you think America are bullshit. It's relatively normal. It's concerned about the same things you are. You will find that people are just like you and I, idiots, clever people, whatever. The range of, you get all the same types. So you actually find my point was travel. Travel is the thing.
Travel is the
That's how you educate your kids. And for you as well. for you as a person. The more you travel, the more you realize just how tiny the world is,
And how much alike we are.
how much alike we are, and how much bullshit you are absorbing on shit like social media, where
Right.
little pockets of people talking about all sorts of shit that they haven't traveled, they haven't
Right.
communicated, they haven't
true.
gone there. And there, Trump is, look, if Trump came here and he spent some time here and spoke to people and obviously made a big media deal out of it, which I'm sure he would, and we could see him actually engaging and not just playing golf, by the way, eating the food. Oh, we got some great food, having a good time, and just seeing how normal the place is. If he still wants to go back and say, "Oh, it's really fucked up," okay, then I would say, okay,
Right.
actually, that's fine. I believe you're entitled. Who gives a fuck what I think? But I'm saying I believe, and me too. I believe you're entitled, or more entitled, to an opinion if you've done some homework, if you've involved.
Yeah.
If you want to, you can't comment on Vietnamese people unless I feel you've been to Vietnam, or you married to a Vietnamese woman, or you've eaten Vietnamese food, or you've lived there.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. but what I'm saying is, and it's the same with Chinese people. Like the extraordinary thing is, there's so many people are scared of Chinese people because of this takeover and stuff. One of my best mates, I've known him for 40 odd years. Right. He's a counselor in Joburg. His name is Michael Sun. I've known him forever. He's obviously he's of Chinese descent, but he's a South African.
I first name gave him away.
It did, didn't it? And entirely normal. He's not like some alien. He's just like me. He's a little more Chinese looking than me, sure. But that's it. That's all he is.
At the end of the day, we're all the same. We're all the same under the hood. And you did make one mistake, though. We're soon to be 51 states, because we take Canada. Apparently, it's going to be the 51st state. Welcome to America, you Canadians. How lucky are you,
Stephen?
Yeah.
What everybody does know, or maybe they don't know. I mean, you do realize that literally every second show in the US is filmed in Canada. So
it's all filmed at the
so literally you'll have an establishing shot of Minneapolis or something, right? And then you'll cut to an indoor scene, and you're looking out the window, and you go, because I noticed, and I go, this doesn't seem like Minneapolis anymore. And I look on the filming locations. Oh, Toronto.
Or Vancouver.
And that's what they do. I mean, there was the one, I think Suits, the TV show, for a long time was filmed in Toronto and was supposed to be in New York.
Yeah.
And,
or LA,
and anything. Oh, there was that, what's the other show? Watch Resident Alien. Oh, it's a great show. Alan Tudyk.
I love that show.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Tudyk. He is great. He is. I love Alan. He's fantastic.
Coming back. I can't wait.
Oh, he is like, no one else could pull that off. He is fantastic.
We used to do a lot of this in Vancouver, and Lion Gate's studio is literally over the bridge, Lion Gate Bridge. And I remember our hotel, one afternoon, they were like, listen, if you don't get back by 6 o'clock, the police are closing the street down because they're filming. And you're going to have to go in the back way. And we were like, oh no, we were back, and we were out, so literally standing in front of the hotel, smoking cigars, watching them film. And we asked the guy with the microphone, are we okay here? He goes, as long as you don't leave the steps, we're filming this way. And we were just standing there watching, this is cool. It's just like, we'll just hang out. So so it's, they film everything there. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. So
you're right.
It is kind of,
that or Tyler Perry's place in Atlanta. So
what's that?
Tyler Perry has that studio in Atlanta. That's 500 acres. They all film there too now.
Right. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, Canada is kind of already part of America already.
I don't know why Trudeau doesn't just say, make it the 51st state. Let's call it a day. It'd be so much easier. Then the fentanyl frees freely. So.
Oh, I love that. I watched, what's his name? Mark Carney, who used to be the Bank of England boss, whatever that is.
Yep.
And now he's potentially could be the next prime minister of Canada. I don't know, maybe. Mark Carney, very smart man, Canadian fellow. And I watched an interview with him they were discussing with him about Canada being the 51st state and the tariffs and all of that. And I think he would be a good guy. But I think you'll find certainly the Canadians that I know, They love America, but we're Canadians. We're not Americans.
That's correct, and they are.
Why would we need to be? Are we a threat? Yeah, aren't we too? What did my friend? I had a friend of mine when I lived in New York. What was his name? His name was Dwayne Hill. You can go and look him up. He's actually he was an actor. He was a director. He produced a show called Northern Exposure or something.
Sure,
anyway, so
Northern Exposure with the moose.
Yeah, he's a very big. He's a big like this. Dwayne's a big guy. He's about 6'6". I knew him in New York. It was Laurel and Hardy, the two of us. And I mean, I'm not small, but he is enormous. But he used to say to me, he says, Canada's too cold for Americans. It's too cold. It's too cold. And he said, that's why I'm in New York. He's a Canadian. He's in New York. He says, I love it here. And I just don't know why there was any need to pick a fight with Canadians. Why would you pick a fight with Canadians?
Listen, Donnie wants to pick fights with people that he can win against. You can win against Greenland. I mean, like I said, PS-137 can win against Greenland. We can win against the Panama Canal. But he's not picking fights. Notice he's not picking a fight with China or Russia or a real power. He's picking a fight. It's kind of like an NFL team going to a school and saying, "Let's whatchamacallit."
Stephen, there's no need. And I've seen tons of comments on these posts, and Americans are saying, "Well, thanks, Don, because now you've made us put a target on our backs. Thanks very much." I don't know if you feel that way, Stephen, but that's what a lot of I've heard Americans saying. They're like, "Well, great. So I'm going to go to Germany and tell them I'm Canadian now."
I've still traveled since he's been president. I've left the country. I've done stuff. I've talked to people all over the world for what we do. Nobody gives a shit. They're just like, you picked the moron. I didn't pick them. Yeah. But you guys picked the moron, and they don't care. They're like, as long as you're kind of like people I deal with are like me. I judge you on you, not your government. And that's right. And how I look when I deal with someone. I'm like, oh, you're from wherever, great. So when I deal with someone from Russia, I'm not like, oh, you're a Putin. Oh, no. Oh, you're good for you. You're Russian. Congratulations. And we just do our deal. If I deal with someone with the UAE or Saudi Arabia or Germany, well, Nazis, but anyway, with Germany, that's sort of like
we're all from somewhere.
And I don't sit there and go, oh, your government sucks. I'm just I'm dealing with the government. That's it.
You answered the question I was going to answer, but that's what I wanted to say. I was going to say, what's the French phrase? Je m'en fiche. I don't care. I really doesn't matter. I don't care if you're American or Guatemalan or whatever it is you are. It doesn't matter. What do you like when I engage with you? Are you a decent person? Are you an
maybe
ass?
If you're Guatemalan, I don't know, but I'm kidding. But listen, if you're Colombian, apparently cocaine's going to be available on the shelf from your president because it's going to be like wine. So kudos to them. I want to deal with them now.
By the way, the what was it? The Gulf? Have they actually renamed it the Gulf of America yet? Have they done that?
No, not as far as I know. But I know that Elon Musk said the other day he wants to call the English Channel George Washington's Channel now. That is a real story. And I'm thinking, really, because you couldn't get it on the naming rights of the Gulf of Mexico, you now want to call it? Like, how stupid are you? So,
I'll tell you what I find interesting about the renaming thing. I mean. Yeah. I from people I know who live around there, they go, no, and Americans, not Mexicans, Americans. You said, I grew up next to the Gulf of Mexico. I'm not going to. That's what it is. Yeah. It's not a threat. I don't feel like there's Mexicans going to come out of the water and what the fuck? It's an historical thing.
So
she's like, I mean, no one cares. But for someone like. I don't know who suggested it. Maybe Elon suggested it, or I don't know. But I would have thought that someone like Elon, who is supposed to be watching costs, the government efficiency. Yeah. Elon, have you any idea of the cost of changing the name of Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America? Just do some research and see how much that's going to cost. Just have a look. You don't just change the name. There's a ripple of implications that just goes through.
No, we're making America great again, and we're going. Listen, that means we're going to have to change the Pacific Ocean to Godzilla's Ocean because that's every movie. That's where Godzilla comes from, is the Pacific Ocean. So
I I got to leave you with one.
Yes.
Then I've got to go. We've got to go.
Sure.
We've run long again, but it's fine.
Yes.
Here's the deal. I don't know where I saw this. It might have been one of the talk shows in the US. I'm not sure, but they said they were talking about. Okay, so he's renamed Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America, and then he went through.
Right.
They went through all these Southern American countries, and then they got to Venezuela.
Right.
You know what they're going to rename Venezuela?
What?
Something that comes from South Africa. World Cup. You ready?
Yep.
The Vuvuzela.
Oh my God.
The Vuvuzela. So Venezuela will now be called Vuvuzela. I thought that was just awesome. I love that.
That is awesome. My friend,
Vuvuzela.
it is always good to see you. We look forward to next Thursday. Can't wait to see what comes out of our show next Thursday. But this show is phenomenal. Thank you for all the fans for watching live. Thank you for everybody that's rewatching. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and we'll see everybody next Thursday. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you so much for listening to this Roald Woods, Rob Vega, whatever the hell he wants to call himself, fellow. You know, this podcast thing, it makes him feel very important, and he's a difficult fellow as it is to deal with. So thank you so much for putting up with him, and do take care.